at the IEA.
Yes, now an issue lots of people up and down the country have been talking about and indeed care about very deeply. Health Secretary Sajid Javid is preparing to launch an inquiry into gender treatment for under 18s. This follows concerns the current system is failing children, while Sajid Javid believes vulnerable children could be wrongly prescribed gender hormone treatment via the NHS.
Yeah, well, the Tavistock and Portman Trust run gender clinics in London, Leeds and Bristol. They are allegedly giving hormone treatment to around 200 of the 2,500 children they see each year. And referrals have apparently increased 50-fold over the last decade. But I wanted to know how you guys really felt about this. We get loads in the inbox, don't we? Every single time we bring this up, gbviews@gbnews.uk. And I gave a quick call yesterday to the wonderful Russell, who joins us now, Russell Gibbert, who is our final viewer of the day. Russell, cheers. Thank you very much for coming on. Great to catch up with you yesterday. And look, as you know, it's a little bit short and sweet, this, because we get to the guests quite quickly. But your views when we spoke yesterday, you were concerned, I think, weren't you, about the potential for people maybe transitioning too young and then regretting it, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, look, so, puberty is a difficult time. It's you're full of emotions that are new and difficult to cope with, and don't understand, and that are driven by seismic changes to your body and hormones. And it feels like the wrong time to be asking people to make life-changing decisions that they can't possibly have any idea how they're going to feel inhabiting a body that they haven't yet moved into. As your body changes as you get older, your emotions change. And I worry deeply that we will end up pushing children into making these changes which they can't back out of later and which they will subsequently regret. And I think there are cases already around where that's happened. So I guess that's the gist of my concern.
Yeah, Russell, look, thank you very much, my good man, and a pleasure to chat with you and catch up with you, and thank you very much again for tuning in and viewing the show, giving us emails all the time as well. We appreciate it, and we'll have to get you back on.
Yeah, and your concerns are very much echoed by many of our viewers and listeners who write in constantly on this issue, expressing those same concerns. So, Russell, thank you very much. Well, we're now joined by woman rights activist and founder of Standing for Women, Kellie-Jay. Welcome to the programme. I'm guessing you heard our viewer/listener there, Russell. And he said, puberty's a confusing time. It's supposed to be. Your body's undergoing this completely monumental change. Your hormones are all over the place. I remember when I was younger, I was a tomboy. I quite wanted to be a boy. And, look at me now. I'm a very girly girl, I would say now. So
I was always, by the way, a strapping young man.
He did ballet.
Yeah.
But what do you say to that? We should absolutely not be interfering with puberty.
Oh my goodness. It's weird that we even have to discuss it. Of course you can't ask children in the middle of puberty to make any decision that will impact the rest of their lives. It's difficult enough to talk about what GCSEs they're going to do. And let's face it, that's not permanent. But we wouldn't let them have a tattoo. We wouldn't let them have a piercing. There are laws against that. And yet we can allow them to decide to eradicate their sexual function and fertility. What sort of barbarism is that?
Well, also, I think as well, if we're not allowing them to have sex, rightly so, at the age of, anything like 10 to 13 to 14, 15, etc., how can we expect them to be fully together sexually in their orientation as well? Maybe perhaps the argument is you might need to try a couple of things out before you realise exactly where you are on the sexual spectrum, as it were. I mean, it doesn't seem to make sense to have people who are not allowed to engage in sexual activity defining what kind of sexual preferences they want to have for the rest of their entire lives, Kelly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're covering the case of Alison Bailey, and she says much the same. You have no idea of the many, how can I put it, pleasures that your adult body may well offer when you're 13. I'm sure the whole idea of adult relationships are quite grotesque, and so they should be at 13. But, it's just preposterous that it was ever allowed. The inquiry, as far as I'm concerned, should be, How on earth did we ever let this through? What sort of damage have we done? And what payouts are we likely going to make to children whose bodies have been irreversibly damaged?
Yeah, and Kelly, I don't know if you can answer this for me, and it's a question I think I might ask in a civil way a trans person the next time I speak to a trans person. But what does it mean to say I feel like a woman? Because what does feeling like a woman mean? I mean, does it mean you feel more comfortable in dresses? Well, you're reducing being a woman to how you look. Does it mean you feel more comfortable? You know, what does it mean? I don't actually understand what saying I feel like I am a woman means if you're not a woman.
Well, quite. I mean, if you ask Harry Enfield, which might be a little bit too old for you two, but it's just about liking fluffy kittens, basically, is how to feel like a woman. I mean, most women just want to feel human and be treated as if we're equal members of society. And so feeling like a woman, it's something that you can't feel unless you are a woman. I mean, Jermaine Greer made this point quite some time ago, just before she was cancelled, that you cannot possibly know what you cannot know. And you cannot know what it feels to be a woman unless you are a woman. It's quite simple.
No, indeed. I mean, that seems to be, certainly the way that I would view it. And it's funny as well, isn't it? You know, you've got a sign behind you. One of the signs says, keep men out of women's spaces and this, that and the other. And it's like, my response to that as a man would be, I really don't want to go into women's spaces, you know? But clearly a lot of people do, right? So, but there we go. Kelly, thank you very much. Kellie-Jay Keith, friend of the channel, friend of the show, doing a lot of very, very important work, especially in this particular time. Well, that's almost it from